A. Adverbs of frequency. How often?
Always, often, frequently, quite often, sometimes, occasionally, hardly ever, rarely, seldom, formal, never. She hardly ever plays tennis now. I am often late. I occasionally go to the theatre. He rarely works at weekends. We see them quite frequently. I have never been to America.
B. Adverbs of degree. How much?
I was a bit tired. Informal. The flat was a little small. The flat was a little bit small. She was slightly nervous. The next four adverbs all mean more than a bit, but less than very. The hotel was quite busy. We had quite a nice room, not a quite nice room. The food was fairly boring. It was a fairly wet day. I was rather annoyed I missed the film. It was a rather good party, or rather a good party. The weather was pretty good. Informal. We had a pretty difficult journey. The restaurant was completely or totally empty. I totally or completely agree with you. We had an extremely interesting trip. It's an incredibly good book.
C. Adverbs of manner.
These adverbs describe the way in which someone does something or the way that something happens.
Nora had secretly put all of the letters into her bag.
I went in and shut the door quietly. The curtains were closed and the room was dark. But I suddenly realized I wasn't alone.
Penelope was in pain, and I could see she needed help urgently.
I spoke to Charles briefly this morning. I asked him very politely if he could work an extra hour this evening, but he reacted quite angrily and walked off.
A. When or as soon as.
The meaning of these two time expressions is almost the same, but as soon as suggests something more immediate or important. I'll phone my uncle when I get home. I'll phone my uncle as soon as I get home. As soon as you've finished this exercise, you can go home. When you've finished this exercise, you can go home.
B. Two things happening at the same time.
Violet got ready while I cooked the dinner. The accident happened while I was on my way to work. I saw him just as I came out of the office.
C. One thing after another.
We met the others in the cafe, and then, or after that, or afterwards, we went to the match. I talked to Joe, and afterwards I came home. I was in Caracas for 3 months, and then, or after that, I went to Colombia. After my visit to New York, I decided to have a rest. We had something to eat before going out.
D. A sequence of actions.
We had a really nice holiday. First of all, or first, we spent a few days in St. Moritz. After that, or then, we drove down the coast and stayed in Portofino for a week. Finally, we went back to Switzerland to stay with my uncle.
E. At first, eventually.
To begin with, the two girls got on very well when they shared the flat. But after a while, they started arguing about various things. And eventually, Lauren walked out and found a new place. At first, I enjoyed the classes, but after a while, it got a bit boring. And in the end, I left.
F. A list of reasons.
We can use firstly, or for one thing, or for a start, to introduce a first reason for something, and then secondly, or besides, or anyway, to add a further reason.
What's wrong with her new dress?
Firstly, it's a horrible colour, and secondly, I don't think it suits her.
Why can't we go out tonight?
Well, for one thing, I've got a lot of work. And besides, I can't afford it. Well, for a start, I've got a lot of work. Anyway, I can't afford it.
A. As well as. What's more. In addition to. Besides.
We often link ideas using and. For example, the food's nice and very good value. There are other words and phrases we also use to add more information. Sometimes we still include and or also. The restaurant has excellent food. It's also very good value. You always get a good view, and the seats are comfortable as well. Synonym, too. As well as getting cheaper tickets, I also got the opportunity to buy them in advance. The clothes are nice, and what's more, the shop is open every day of the week. The scheme gives young people experience. In addition, companies can afford to employ them. In addition to the new food department, they're also planning to open a cafe. Besides being a mum with 4 children, she's also a successful designer.
B. Although. Despite. In spite of.
We use these link words when there are 2 ideas in a sentence, and the second is surprising or not expected. They can be used at the beginning or in the middle of the sentence. Although the sun was shining, it wasn't very warm. Even though the sun was shining, it wasn't very warm. We found the place quite easily, although we didn't know where it was. We found the place quite easily, even though we didn't know where it was. They went for a walk, despite the fact that it was raining. Despite having no money, he still seemed very happy. They got there on time, in spite of the delay. In spite of all the problems, we still enjoyed the trip.
C. However, yet, though.
We can use however and yet when the second part of an idea is surprising after the first part. However is often used to link ideas in 2 separate sentences. Though can be used in a similar way in spoken English, but usually comes at the end of the sentence. Notice the use of commas here and the different positions of however.
I don't agree with a lot of his methods. However, he is a very good teacher. We didn't particularly like the house. The garden, however, was wonderful. It was warm and sunny when we were there. Most of the time, however, it's quite cold. We went in the autumn, yet it was still quite warm. I didn't like the film much. I'm glad I went to see it, though. They told us the shop was next to the station. We never found it, though.
D. While and whereas.
We can use while and whereas to compare two different facts or situations.
Alex is very quick to understand. Whereas, or while, the others are quite slow. I get £20 an hour, while Josh only gets £12.
The speed limit on this road is 80 kilometres per hour, whereas it's 130 kilometres per hour on the motorway. I was very keen on the film, whereas Christoph didn't like it at all.
A. Reason.
I went home early because I was feeling tired. As I was feeling tired, I went home early. Since I was feeling tired, I went home early. We don't usually start a sentence with because. I was feeling tired, so I went home early. This is very common in spoken English. The reason I went home early was that I was feeling tired. We can also use because of with a different construction. Compare. They go there because the weather is wonderful. Because plus noun plus verb. They go there because of the wonderful weather. Because of plus adjective plus noun. Due to means the same as because of and is often used to explain the reason for a problem. The plane was late due to bad weather. Due to is often used after the verb be.
B. Purpose.
A purpose is an intention or reason for doing something. The purpose of the meeting is to plan next year's timetable. We often introduce a purpose using so that or in order to. I bought this book so that I could improve my English. They went home early in order to watch the match on television. We moved house so that we could send our children to this school. She went into town in order to do some shopping.
C. Result.
These link words or phrases are used when one thing happens because another thing has happened. Therefore, and as a result, are more formal than so, and less common in spoken English. I left my ticket at home, so I had to buy another one. They've got more money, and therefore they can afford to buy the best football players. I forgot to send the email. As a result, no one knew about the meeting.
D. Conditions.
We sometimes use whether when we are not sure about something. I didn't buy it because I wasn't sure whether you'd like it. I spoke to the others, but I don't know whether they're coming. We'll be late unless we leave now. Unless the weather improves, we won't be able to go. I have to go now, otherwise I'll miss the last bus. You'll have to turn up the music, otherwise they won't be able to hear it. You can borrow it as long as you bring it back by Thursday. You can wear what you like as long as you look quite smart. I'm taking my umbrella in case it rains. Take some money in case you need to get a taxi.
A. Formal English.
Formal English is more common in writing, but you will also hear examples in more formal spoken English. For example, announcements, speeches, television news, or discussions. Notice in a cafe. Only food purchased here may be eaten on the premises. Business letter. I regret to inform you that we are unable to. Information notice. If you require further assistance, please contact the above address. Formal letter. We are not in a position to grant you a visa to this country. Police statement. The man is being questioned regarding the robbery last night. Theatre announcement. The play will commence in 2 minutes. Station announcement. The next train to depart from platform 7 will be the 7:22 to Reading. Airport announcement. Will passengers for Miami please proceed to gate 36?
B. Informal English.
Informal language is more common in spoken English and also in most emails or letters to friends. The words and phrases in bold in these dialogues are all informal.
Who's Callum?
A mate of mine.
Really?
Yeah, I see him quite a bit. He's a nice bloke.
Toby, I'm afraid I can't make it this evening.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But the thing is, Ella's not well, so I'll have to look after the kids.
OK, don't worry. There will still be 12 or so at the meeting, and I'll ring you later and let you know what happens.
Cheers. That would be great.
I bet you're hungry.
Yes, I'm dying for something to eat.
Well, I think you'll find some stuff in the fridge.
What are you up to this evening?
Nothing much. Why?
Well, would you like to see the new Coen Brothers film? I've heard it's great.
Really? My brother saw it and said it was a load of rubbish.
A. Types of form.
A registration form, where you enter your name on an official list, for example, at a school or college. Also called an enrolment form when you're applying to do a course of study. An entry form, if you want to enter for an exam, for example, Cambridge English First. A landing card, for people from some countries when they enter the UK. A visa application form, when you make an official request to enter or leave some countries.
B. Language of forms. When you fill in a form, you will see that they often have more formal expressions. In spoken English, ideas may be expressed differently. Written, date of birth. Spoken, when were you born? Place of birth. Where were you born? Country of origin. Where do you come from? Marital status. Are you single or married? Date of arrival. When did you arrive? Date of departure. When are you leaving? Or when did you leave? Signed. Write your signature. C. Curriculum vitae.
If you apply for a job, you need to send a letter and a CV, curriculum vitae, or resume in American English, which should give personal details, details about your education and qualifications, for example, university degree, teaching certificate, etc., your work experience, your interests, skills, career aims, names of people who will give you a reference. If you apply to university, they require a personal statement in which you must explain why you want to go to this university, why you want to follow this particular course, details of your educational background, your skills, your interests.
D. Tips for writing a CV or personal statement.
A tip is a useful piece of advice. Here are some tips for writing a CV or personal statement. A CV should be no longer than 2 pages. A personal statement no more than 45 lines of text. Type your CV or personal statement. Handwriting is not suitable. Keep it simple. Don't make it complicated. Check there are no mistakes. Make sure the information you give is relevant. For example, if you are going to be working on your own, don't say that you are good at working in a team.
A. The basis of a discursive essay. An essay that discusses a subject.
In a discursive essay, you have to express your own ideas and point of view. It is also important to show that you understand both sides of an argument. This means you need to understand and use different link words and phrases such as in addition, however, etc.
B. Expressing a point of view. Some people believe that no one should be sent to prison under the age of 18. There is an argument that everyone should have a university education. C. Giving both sides of an argument.
One of the advantages of being an only child is that you have more attention from your parents. However, it can be lonely without the company of brothers and sisters. On the one hand, computers can do so many things faster than human beings. On the other hand, some people are becoming dependent on them, which is not a good thing.
D. Comparing and contrasting. Saying how 2 things are similar and how they are different.
We often make comparisons between groups of people, or between the past and the present. Compared with my grandparents, I have had much more opportunity to travel abroad. Compared to my grandparents, I have had much more opportunity to travel abroad. In the past, people didn't have computers, but nowadays there is one in almost every home. Most parts of the developed world have become richer in the last 30 years. In contrast, many countries in Africa have become much poorer.
E. Making generalizations.
Sometimes a simple statement is not accurate. For example, young people prefer to watch American films. This is not true for all young people, so we use certain words and phrases to show that we are making a generalization. In general, Japanese society is more focused on groups than individuals. Synonym, on the whole. Teenagers tend to have more freedom than in the past.
F. Cause and effect. How something happens and then makes something else happen. Poor diet and lack of exercise are the main causes of obesity. Obesity is often the result of a bad diet and not enough exercise. People don't eat the right food or get enough exercise, and consequently they put on weight. Poor diet can cause obesity, and this can have a bad effect on people's health. A. A formal letter.
Dear Sir or Madam, I am writing in response to your advertisement about job opportunities for graduates. I have just completed a degree in economics at Durham University, and I would be grateful if you could send me further details of the graduate training schemes you mention. I am available for interview at any time. I look forward to hearing from you. Yours faithfully, Nicole Drew.
B. Useful words and phrases. Thank you for your letter regarding the damage to your vehicle. I regret to inform you that your application has not been successful. I am pleased to inform you that your application has been successful. I am writing to inquire about English courses at your school. You will need to confirm the booking in writing. We would like to thank you for offering your support. We would like to apologize for the delay, or please accept our apologies for the delay. I enclose a cheque for £100. A. An email.
Hi Beth. Just a quick message to thank you for dinner last night. Absolutely delicious, as always, and I really enjoyed meeting your friend Alice. She's a laugh, isn't she? I'm hoping to get tickets for the film festival next week, so I'll be in touch to see if there's anything you fancy seeing. Give my regards to Conrad when he gets back from Poland, and once again, thanks for last night. Love, Sophie.
B. Messaging.
Hi Emma. Sorry it's been ages since I last got in touch, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm coming to Birmingham in 2 weeks' time, actually just before your birthday.
Sounds great. When exactly?
12th of March. Could we get together and go out for a meal? Maybe Mark could join us as well.
That's perfect. Can you contact Mark and I'll book a restaurant?
Great. Anyway, better get back to work. See you soon.
A. Letters or words.
Most abbreviations are spoken as individual letters. EU, European Union. UN, United Nations. PM, Prime Minister. MP, Member of Parliament. BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation. ID, Identification. For example, do you have an ID card? PC, Personal Computer. CV, Curriculum Vitae. ISP, Internet Service Provider. Occasionally, abbreviations are spoken as words. For example, AIDS and PIN.
B. Written forms only. Some abbreviations are written forms only, but pronounced as full words. Mr. Scott. St. Mark's Church. Mrs. Bryant. Dean Street. Dr. Chapman. C. Abbreviations as part of the language.
Some abbreviations from Latin are used as part of the language. Etc. Abbreviation ETC. Meaning, and so on. Exempli gratia. E.g. For example, id est. I.e. That's to say, or in other words.
D. Shortened words.
Some common English words can be shortened, especially in spoken English. In some cases, the shorter form is more common, and the full form sounds quite formal. For example, refrigerator, influenza, gymnasium, and veterinary surgeon. Phone, telephone. Fridge, refrigerator. Maths, mathematics. Exam, examination. Board, whiteboard or smartboard or blackboard. Plane, aeroplane. Case, suitcase. Photo, photograph. Ad or advert, advertisement. Flu, influenza. Gym, gymnasium. Lab, laboratory. Bike, bicycle. Sales rep, sales representative. Synonym, salesperson. TV or telly, television. Vet, veterinary surgeon. Paper, newspaper.